Howdy, folks. Happy Tuesday. Hope you're all well. I'm going to be going live with Victoria. Oh, and she's already signed in. I hope you're all having a good Tuesday. Just want to clear some of the space before we get started. And I'm going to be burning some sage right now to calm my nerves. I always love doing these lives, but because I'm normally a shy person, my anxiety and all that good stuff goes up, so I just need to ground myself. So I'm going to, hey Victoria. Anyway, so I hope you all are voting and making this world more peaceful, and we got to take care of each other, the land, the animals, and all that good stuff. So, all right, so Victoria is here. Yes, I gotcha. Hey, Victoria. Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Oh, hi. It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you in person, finally,
I know,
sort of
nice
in
to meet you.
person.
Right. Through this virtual medium here, we get to
Yeah.
meet each other this way. I have actually known your mom for a few years.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to meet you and all that good stuff. So thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today and to share your wisdom with my community. So before we get started, I'll just introduce myself really quick, and then if you'd like to introduce yourself, and as if anyone is popping on live with us, if you have any questions for me or Victoria, the topic today is on attracting, what's the verbiage? Universal law of abundance. So my name is Jennifer Escalera. I am the founder of the Mystic Living School, and I provide energy healing certification through private sessions, sound baths, anything that's related to vibrational healing and sacred work. And I'm here live again. I'm really finding it a lot of fun to talk to people and get people involved in different things that I think will help our community. And Victoria is someone who I've been following for a while. And a couple weeks ago, she had a video talking about the universal law of abundance. And I was so blown away. And it was just it really touched me. And I thought well, as an empath, as someone who has been learning the laws of abundance, I thought that this would really resonate with my community. And so I invited Victoria on today to see what we can learn from her and how to continue finding more about her. So Victoria, thank you again for being here.
Oh, well, thank you, Jennifer. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Okay.
you. I can hear
Okay.
you really good. Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, thank
Yeah.
you for extending the offer. It's always so wonderful for me when I see beautiful light people doing their work, and then they're gracious and willing to share their space with others who can add to the work that they're doing rather than feeling as if somebody is stepping into their space.
Oh, good point. Thank you. Thank you for making it such a spiritual meaning, but that's so true, right? I mean, that's really getting out of scarcity thinking and ego, that there's plenty for all of us. And we actually activate more peace and love and abundance when we work together, when we unite with one another. So thank you for bringing that into our space today. So if you could share with our community, with my community today, a little bit about who you are, what your background is, and if there's anything else that you'd like to share with us.
Okay. I have been in the healing, I guess not industry because it sounds so um, business oriented.
Business, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But in the work of almost all my life, I come from a family of healers in the Spanish tradition, the cunandera of our community, and I have great aunts who were cunanderas. I didn't know growing up, as my grandmother would tend to us when we were sick while my mother was out working. All of her little loving ointments and caretaking she gave wasn't just for our health healing, but also our spirit healing, to clear our minds and keep us grounded. And I didn't quite understand that as a young person. And it wasn't until I got older and being out in the physical world, going to college, working in corporate, did I feel a little out of alignment. And I could never really understand why. And when I started to really dig and search, and at the time, you know, all of this has always been available, but I didn't have the resources or the community which spoke this language. And so it took me a really long time to figure out what was going on. And once I did, it was that, like when you're learning a new language, oh my gosh, I can speak this fluently. And there were people speaking back to me. And with that, I started a boutique several years ago in La Crescenta. I did it along with my mother. She did the massage therapy, and I had this, at the time, holistic boutique. And work started coming to me through my clients. And again, I wasn't quite cognizant of it. And people were asking for direction. They were asking for guidance, and being who I am and the teachers and the examples I had in front of me from my lineage, it just seemed so natural. And finally, a customer said, I want you to help guide me in my life and help me figure these things out. And I thought, oh, you need a life coach. And she said, yes, you can start on Saturday. So I literally was anointed to go get my certificate and my credential from someone who I had met through my other work. But the way that the universe works, it is always working to bring you what your true passion, your purpose, it brings it to you, whether you acknowledge or you understand, but it will bring it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's how I got into the work.
Yeah, yeah. So if you can share with us, you know, just the expansion of what the universal law of abundance is, and is this the same as manifestation?
Okay, really great questions. And I want to say this is my understanding and my interpretation from my perspective based on the experiences I've had in the world. But it's really working for me. So I'm going to share my perspective.
Let's hear it, please.
So this law reminds us that the universe is always seeking to express itself. And it's seeking to do so through each of us. One of my favorite statements about this principle is that the universe is always conspiring on your behalf. And I live this as a mantra. I know there are greater forces than just little old me that are working on my behalf and want me to succeed. Also, this law states that the spirit of our action multiplies the results. So in clear terms, what you invest personally will be multiplied. And again, it takes some work. You have to put in the effort. And it's not an obvious thing, but it's really simple. You invest.
What would be an example? Like how would we apply that in our lives?
Well, I do it every day. So whatever it is that I've got up my sleeve, I don't know if you can see this background here. This is my office. Yes. It is a tough shed barn that I got a couple of months ago. So right when the pandemic hit and everybody was reeling, I thought, what is this here to teach me? So I sat with, what does the pandemic mean to me and what is it here to teach me? So I sat with that. I thought about my law of abundance. I thought about manifestation. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this work and I'm going to do it even greater than I have before. Now, that sounds a little counterintuitive because we're in the middle of a pandemic, and who's going to be spending money to have life coaching or wellness coaching, anxiety coaching? But I know it's essential, and it fell right into what was going on. And I reached out to Tough Shed and I said, okay, I want to get this, and this is how I want it. And the guy said, well, let's put you through and have you finance it. Well, that doesn't align with me, but I said yes to it anyways. And then he came back and said, oh, but you don't have pay stubs to show, so we can't finance you, and blah, blah, blah. So again, I sat with this and I thought, why am I truly doing this? Why do I want a space to hone in the work that I do, hold the light and hold the energy as I'm doing this work? I had answered myself, and within not even 24 hours, there was money in my account to cover the entire cost and even add a couple of little extras that I wanted.
Nice.
I didn't do anything extra from what I've been doing all along. And I aligned with the knowing that what I am seeking to do from my heart, my authentic truth, why I seek to do that, and I allow the energy of the universe, because everything's energy. And if I work with that, instead of fight it or push against it and say, oh no, not for me, things flow if I allow it. We ourselves, maybe we don't believe in that. Maybe we don't believe in energy. We don't believe in the universe. Maybe we don't believe in ourselves. We are the ones stopping ourselves. And I know this to be true because I work with this law every single day of my life, and people are constantly asking me, how did you do that? I don't do it alone. I don't even do it. I am a facilitator in helping the process. I can block it or I can start it, but I don't do it alone. And I think when I share, especially on social media, what my life is like, it isn't, oh, hey, look at me. I'm really showing people how this law works. And I come from very meager means from my family, but I have aspired to do really great things in my world, in my corner, and that is so fulfilling that it just keeps multiplying.
So it sounds like the process of attracting this or working with the universal law of abundance is that you have to have still time, being present with what your thoughts are, what your intentions are, and it coming from an authentic place, coming from a heart-centered place, or what meaning will this bring about in my life? Right?
Yeah.
And so how is that different than manifestation? Or maybe it's the same thing, or maybe they support one another, you know?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, I believe, yes, it's the same, and no, it's different. And let me explain that.
Yes.
The law of the universe is where manifestation resides, if that makes sense. So in your manifestation, it's living and breathing in the law of abundance. That's where it's sheltered and that's where it's housed. So if you can work with the tools and the principles by which it comes to fruition in the physical and material world, you are practicing the law of abundance. But manifestation, I believe, is housed in that law.
And when you are working with the universal law of abundance, one, who is this for? And when we work with this energy, is it about materials or something in the physical? Is it a little bit more abstract or ether?
And again, yes, to all of the above, and in different ways, and especially for the individual. So what I try to offer to people, the law of abundance is for everyone, but it's really for the person who's willing to work the principle. Anyone can tap into it, just like intuition, just like our success. Any one of us has it within ourselves. We have to be willing to do the work for it. And the more that you take part, and you had touched on this a little bit earlier when you were saying, what does it take? I believe it takes your intention first and foremost. So yes, you have to sit a little bit quietly and be still to really hear what your true intention is. Then your desire. What is your heart authentically asking, and why? We get tripped up on, I want this material thing, but why do I want that? And is it in support of my highest vibration and my highest frequency that I'm trying to offer the world? And then also your commitment. So when you are working those together and you're clear on them, and they're different for each and every one of us. So when you're clear on that, and you're in that place of, I not only believe in the law of abundance, I not only believe that manifestation can take what's in my head and in my heart and become real in the physical material world, but I have to believe in me. I have to believe in what I'm processing. And so again, if you are trying to keep up with whomever, the Joneses, the Kardashians, your neighbor, and you want something physical and material, if you work it right, you most likely will get it, but will it have the longevity and the sustainability? And will it truly satisfy you? If you are seeking things, especially in the material, based on values of others, of how I fit in, am I going to measure up now to them, there will still be something missing internally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. So working with this, you have to be really clear for yourself on why you are doing it and what you are trying to achieve. And a lot of it is material and physical, but the importance behind it. Like I said, I'm in this great tough shed that I have, but my why was the reason. And I would have never received this in the way that I did so quickly if I hadn't understood why I really wanted it. And what it also did, without you knowing or without me knowing, when I set that into motion, it allowed for this to happen between you and I.
I love that. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So if anyone here who has joined us right now, if you have a question, you're welcome to put in the comments for Victoria. We're talking about the universal law of abundance. So if you want any quick tips or any of your questions about understanding it more clearly, go for it, ask away. Right now is a good time to ask. This is great. This is so awesome. This is so good. And let's say, because oftentimes when we're beginning to work with the universal law or the universal law of abundance, manifestation, magic, all of that stuff, spells, there's oftentimes either a conscious or an unconscious resistance or block. So what do you suggest, or how have you worked through some mental blocks, self-worth blocks, if that's the case. Because I know that that's also a lot of my own traps, is my worthiness still really tugs at my heart, even though that's the basis and the foundation of the work that I do, is learning about self-love and loving yourself. What can you speak to that, and what actionable steps can we do to mend
Well,
that?
first, I want to address you because it's also one of the things in me. Self-worth, the feeling of abandonment, all of that, that is real. And because you yourself know it and you work on your own every day, it makes you more authentic in offering guidance to someone who is just starting. I look at in anything I do, whether it's where I go get my hair done, my nails done, the place I'm going to go eat, I want to see that the person who's doing it has done it for themselves as well. So I commend you on the work that you're doing and your ability to be vulnerable and to say, I have blocks. All of us do. So I thank you so much for that. And I thank you for the question. Most people are blocked and they don't even know it because they're on the goal seeking. I have this goal. I want this goal. Why am I not getting the goal? So they don't even realize that they're blocked. And especially for the person who's been doing some work, and I'm going to say this was me initially, 12, 15 years ago. I had gone to workshops. I had read this book. So I did the work. But I did it on the surface. And I wasn't listening internally. We know when something's wrong, when you get that tinge, that ache in your stomach, you feel out of sorts, and you can even physically see it in yourself when somebody says something and it's a trigger, or you throw up the block, you can feel it in your own body, that neck ache, that twitch that you get. That's also what dis-ease is about. So identifying that, okay, I'm going to come to this and I'm going to be open that even if I've done the work, even if I'm acknowledging my block, there may still be parts of it that are hidden in a crevice that I haven't addressed and I haven't allowed to come out. And as well with the block, being able to know I have that trigger, I have that block, and I'm going to acknowledge it. And then I'm going to say thank you for attempting to keep me safe and to protect me, because that's what it's about. I'm going to put you off to the side. I'm going to allow this vulnerability and to be open. And then you are going to witness me grow and manifest and become abundant. And then I'm going to take you by the hand and I'm going to bring you along with me to enjoy all of this. And I have literally had to do that work for myself.
So, I feel that truth. I get chills all over my arms and now it's going down my legs. It's so true. I mean, I get you because I've gone through that same experience. I mean, it's really important to bring along that pain, that wound, and embrace it, learn to love it, and celebrate. What I heard was really acknowledging your personal power and not losing sight of your intentions and your manifesting or desires, but to see, witness, observe, not ignore when there's blocks or worthiness issues, whether it's unconscious or conscious, that we rejoice in it and then love it and bring it along once we, are attracting or being part of that manifestation or being part of that abundance.
Correct.
So joining.
Yes, correct. Because part of our wound, our trauma, our block is that very thing, the suppression of being able to express, the hurt because you've been traumatized, you've been told to shush, hide it, put it away, it's ugly, we don't want to share that in our family, in our community, we don't want to be vulnerable in that. That wound, that block needs that loving attention. That is why it's still there. And if you can acknowledge, and what I do recommend to people is step back as far as you can to remember the first time it happened, or at least the earliest that you can recall that wound was open, and to work with that. Because once you acknowledge that, it will not attempt to keep getting in the way when you're trying to manifest and move forward to those things that you want to ascertain.
Oh, so good, so good. And what are the benefits that people can experience from this kind of practice, or just this way of being? I know you highlighted some, but if you can maybe kind of speak to that.
Okay, absolutely. First and foremost is the ability to breathe.
Yes.
We're so, and especially at this time in our humanity, there's so much
true.
stress. We have anxiety, we have our trauma, we have our depression, any on the list. And by working with the law of abundance or any of the laws, working with principles that support you so that you can still be in a good space, even when the world is doing what the world is doing, including your own. And I will absolutely admit to you, last night we had a little thing in our house that kind of rattled me. It was an exterior thing, but it still rattled. And my husband said to me, "What would you say to one of your coaching clients?" And I was like, oh, okay. Yes. He gave me a cup of tea. I gave myself a little time out, what you were saying, just being still. And I allowed for my physical and mental self to touch into that trigger, because it was a trigger. And I hugged it. I sat with that angst that I was having. The rest of the evening went on, went to sleep, woke up this morning, and this morning, 90% of it was rectified without me having to do anything. It's the energy and where I am placing. One of the things I love, it's a quote and I love it. It helps so much. Pay attention to what you're paying attention to. So if I would have stayed in that spiral of, oops, something went wrong, because it did, in the past, I would have gone down that hole and everything would have been wrong, and that would have been that. I would have had this situation. It didn't stay there. I know my own power. I know that there is a universe conspiring on my behalf each and every moment that I am here, and the energy that I am putting out. And when I woke up this morning, I got a message and a phone call, and like I said, 90% of it was rectified, and I could continue on with all the work, including showing up here with you to do what I do in the way that I do it. And I know that the universe is working not just on my behalf, but also working through me. Because 15 years ago, I would have never been able to recover from that little tiny incident. I would have made it trauma and drama, and I would have been beating myself up every which way for days and never forgiven myself.
Yeah, I hear you there. Yeah, absolutely. So shortening down that trauma drama, and then coming into, your authentic self. And what I'm hearing too is that part of this work is that it's unconditional. You can go through these wounds or triggers, these blocks, but you can also continue to work with these principles that it isn't conditioned on how good you are or how like thoughtful and gratitude, you know, how much gratitude you have, right? Like, is it in that way? Like, is it unconditional in that sense?
I believe that it's and not but. You can
Yeah. Yeah.
have the trauma and you can be abundant and you can continue each and every day and week and year and all of that and still have those things that tap on your shoulder or whisper in your ear, you're not worthy, you're not ready. The thing that will pull you through is the and. Because if you let the but, you will be stuck back where you've been all along. And you did bring
Mm.
up the word gratitude. That, when I do this practice every
Mm-hmm.
single day, my very first practice in anything I do, working with whichever law, working whichever coaching tool, any of my, whether it's meditation, gardening, I always start with gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude coming into speaking with you, gratitude that you have followers who are interested and want to know what you're offering, including somebody they may not even know. Gratitude that the sky is blue today and we're not inhaling smoke today.
Yeah.
Gratitude for the firefighters who were battling the fires that were affecting us. Gratitude for the hummingbird that I see outside of my window each and every day based on the ecosystem that I've created here in my backyard.
Mm.
Every little bit of gratitude is so important because gratitude is a great multiplier. And
Mm.
with that, so if you work that and you're
Mm.
working the law of abundance, you're already multiplying what you're trying to manifest working with
Mm.
gratitude. So if you
Mm.
understand that, you're in that energy, and everything is energy, and that which is in motion tends to stay in motion. All of those cliches, they're so true, and we forget to utilize them for ourselves. That
Yeah.
is where you can work it and you'll benefit. It will take you to places you hadn't even thought of yet.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Beautifully said. I mean, this is very hopeful. This is very helping us to move forward and to never feel stuck. This is always in motion. Yes, and everything is energy, and energy is always transmuting, transporting, evolving, and co-creating. And so just bringing us back into these natural ways of living, as well as bringing us back to our heart center, bringing us back into that space of gratitude, because that is definitely something that could be blocked in times of stress and overwhelm, trauma and scarcity, particularly in these times where it might feel like a lost cause or times of giving up. But we have to always remember the true principles of, you know, spirit, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, our ancestors, like just always bringing us back to that space of gratitude and working with those principles as well to be able to continue evolving that and rippling it out into the world, making us a safer and better place
Yeah.
to live and be. So, how can people continue learning more about what you do or learning more about the universal law of abundance? If you can share with us now.
Well, definitely, I'm here to work with people one on one if they're interested. You can find me on my website, Life and Wellness Coaching by VictoriaMarie.com. I do have coaching tips, and of course, the way that the universe works, I am working on putting little clips of the laws of the universe
Mm,
onto my YouTube channel. So that's to come. That
cool.
was sort of the prelude when you saw the video that I put
Uh-huh.
up. I wanted to see if if it was purposeful for now. Just because I know something for me, it may not resonate for someone else. So I check with people. Is this something that you're interested in? People can also email me directly at victoriamarieguide@gmail.com. They can DM me here on Instagram. Any which way, I'm here in any way that somebody is seeking to further their own growth, their own understanding, and be able to feel vibrant, even in the midst of the world being where it is right now. And that's where we can look to the lotus flower. That beauty grows in muddy waters. And we look at that symbol and we honor it and we pay homage to what it represents. Just like we human beings, you can be beautiful and glorious even in muddy waters.
Beautiful. Oh, I love that. That's so nice.
Thank you.
That melts my heart. That is so beautifully said. Thank you, Victoria, again for teaching us and sharing your wisdom and just keeping it real, keeping it natural, being yourself. And I do really appreciate the information that's free, right, that you give to us on your Instagram page, because, for me, that video, it spoke to me, and that's what drew me to talk to you more about it. So if I'm a follower, I would say, yeah, I would go for it. I would want to learn more from you about the universal law of abundance and just any of your other tips. I mean, they're all so beautiful. So everyone, just make sure to follow Victoria at, if you could say your Instagram again.
Victoria Marie. And the CTACC, it's my credentials. So
okay.
That's my credential.
Excellent.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I will be seeing all you folks hopefully soon. Again, like I said, I really enjoy doing these lives and interviewing people and introducing them to our community. So if you have any requests or you want to learn some more about different topics, please DM me. I'm at Mystic Living School, and you're welcome to also email me at info at the Mystic Living School, and you can share the type of topics that you would like me to interview people for, and I will see you all next time. Thank you. Thanks,
so
Victoria.
Much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.